Thank you very much. Let me just plug in here real quick. There we go. Let's see if this works. Yep, cool. So I first heard about CreativeMornings back in January, and I was shocked for two reasons. A, that I'd never heard of it before, and it sounded pretty awesome. And then going through the website, seeing all the talks and stuff, I was really bummed I hadn't heard of it yet. And the other thing was, Keith told me that usually within 4 or 5 days, every event sells out. And I said, it's for creatives, and it's in the morning, and it sells out in 4 days. So that was pretty shocking. But that you're all here, I actually believe him now, and I'm very happy to be here. So what I do, and everyone at Zero does, we make visual effects for movies and commercials, and animated things and fun stuff, and it's really cool. And we get to show our work all over the world, and we do it mostly right here from Boston. We also have an office in Los Angeles now, and it's my dream job, and I'm very excited to be able to do it. And so I guess because visual effects is kind of a vague thing, I'm going to show you guys a quick reel of stuff that we've done in the past. And some of the shots you'll see in this are a lot of the stuff you'll recognize from movies. And hopefully some of the stuff you recognize you didn't know was visual effects. And what we'll show you here is what it looked like before we touched it and what it looked like after. So we'll get into it. There's some violence, sorry. Kind of gross in the morning, sorry. And the fun part about being the owner, one of the owners of the company and the co-founder and the creative director is I can stand up here and get all this applause and take all the credit, but there's so many more other people that actually made all that work, and I just get to take the credit. So for everyone that watches the Zero back online, thank you guys. So back in January when Keith first mentioned CreativeMornings and told us about some of the topics that were available to speak about still, you know, it was 4 options basically that were still looking for speakers, and the first one that I saw on the list was risk. And I'm like, risk? I got risk all day. I started a visual effects company in my basement, you know, in a town that doesn't have any visual effects studios. I can do 30 minutes off the cuff right now, no problem with that one. Then there was reality. Reality, you want to talk about making a movie? Making a movie is like building a house, except the blueprint's going to change every single day, and every department has to work at the same time. So the painters are going to paint while the electricians are still running wires, and the roofers have to shingle the roof while the masons are still pouring the foundation. And then we're going to change it again tomorrow. Reality, I got that easy, 30 minutes. I mean, I could do a whole day on that. And then there was broken. Oh, also small business owner, so I have to, come up with payroll every 2 weeks for 80 people. Reality is definitely not a problem for me. And then there's broken. Have you ever heard the phrase, I don't know if any of you who are filmmakers or work in production, have you ever heard, we'll fix it in post? Yeah, so broken again. I can do a semester on broken. And then there was love. And I immediately said, yes, I want to do love. Love's for me, that's the one I want. I said, Keith, is it still available? Can I do love? He said, that's great, let's do it. I said, that's great, let's do it. I hung up the phone and said, why the heck did I pick love? I have nothing prepared for that. I've never spoken about love. I guess I've talked about passion before, and it's similar, but it's not the same thing. And then I panicked and was happy I had 3 months to prepare, and then 2 months, and then 1 month, and then last night, and realized that I have to figure out how to talk about love. And I didn't know why I was so drawn to it, because like I said, I had the other ones down. I could have easily covered it. I think it would have been interesting, probably funny once in a while. And I realized, though, as part of this process, I wanted to understand what motivates me and why I do what I do, and why do I love it so much. I think as creatives, I think a lot of us in general, I think we typically love our jobs more than people that aren't creative. We follow our heart as a group of people, I think, more than other professions. And I've always guessed I wanted to know why, and I forced myself to find out why by talking about love today. And after the work I put into this and introspection and honestly a little self-growth from little Sean in here, I was very surprised to discover that I am not paid to create art. I'm not paid to make movies. I'm paid to make love. And people are paying us to do that, and I think all creatives are paid to make love, and not in that way. I mean, that can be creative too, I guess, but people bring projects to us, in some cases that they've been working on for months or years, and they need someone else to love it with them now. They're kind of exhausted on the amount of love they've given it. They need us to come on board and bring love to it. Or they give us projects that, they don't have time or energy to love the way it needs to be, so they're asking us to love it. And I don't think they'd ever be able to voice it to us that way. But I think being creatives, and especially seeing now that, looking back on this, that's really what this is about. If you just bring your talent, or you just bring your hard work to something, it's never going to excel past what you're capable of currently. And I think as creatives, we're always expected to push ourselves and push beyond that. The clients want us to push ourselves. Although they also want to hire us for something they've seen exactly before, and they want us to do that, but make it new, So the only way that's going to happen is by us truly loving a project and bringing it past the level of just what hard work and passion can do. So, and I kind of realized this as thinking about this. There's a story that happened to me about almost 20 years ago now. I was a banquet waiter during summer in college. Did about 3 or 4 banquets a weekend, and there were some big weddings and birthday parties and all that. And during one of the big weddings, the head waitress, Sandy, been doing it 40 years, super pro, super organized. She stopped me. She said, "You're not doing it right." And I've been doing it a few months. I knew what I was doing. I was bringing the salads out. It was salad time. I'm ready to go. And she said, "No, this is the biggest day of these people's lives. This is the first and last time that every single person in this room will ever be in the same room together again. And they've been planning for this and dreaming for this for months. This is the happiest day of their lives, and you're treating it just like any other day. And that's not what you're paid for." And being a 19-year-old smartass, I didn't know what she meant. I always worked hard. That was never an issue. I wasn't not working hard. I was treating it like any other day. And it did create a paradigm shift for me that I didn't even realize until I really was able to kind of explore it by talking about love today. And it's something that's really, I used to think that, and I've spoken to a lot of groups before, and I always said my work ethic is what got me here. But I realized now it wasn't work ethic. My work was just an expression of the love I had. And my first job in the industry was at a company called Digital Domain. It was an unpaid internship. They had just won the Academy Award for Titanic. They were the hottest studio in visual effects world in the world at that point. Even at that point, ILM had kind of wavered, and Digital Domain had kind of become the place to be, and I was there. And my first day, I was invited to dailies for a movie called Supernova, which is absolutely horrible movie. But the visual effects were unbelievable. And it was an image like this. It wasn't the exact shot, so I couldn't find it. But I'm sitting in the theater with 50 people. Many of them had just won the Academy Award. And I'm seeing the most beautiful image of space I've ever seen, and it was completely fake. And I was in awe. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't believe I was there. I couldn't have been happy. It was probably the happiest moment of my life. Until all 50 people in the room attacked that image for a half an hour of how bad it was. And I couldn't see any of it. I didn't understand what they were attacking. And when I did actually get, oh, I can see kind of what you're saying there, they were right. And I panicked. I was petrified. How am I going to do this? I mean, I'm just looking at the most beautiful image I've ever seen on a screen, and I'm being told that it sucks. And I can't even come close to doing that yet. And it scared the hell out of me. And at that point, I realized, well, I can work hard, and hopefully they keep me around long enough. And during the Supernova, I'd come in at the end of the show, and they were working 7 days a week, 14 plus hours a day. And when they work weekends, I wasn't required to work weekends at all. I could work 8 hours a day, and that was it. But I was so excited to be there. If they let me in the door, I was going to be there. And the kitchen looked like this. I wish I took a picture. This isn't the actual kitchen, but it's very similar. Because on weekends, the custodial crew didn't come in. And by lunch on, I think it was either Saturday or Sunday, it was absolutely disgusting. And I had nothing particularly to do, so I'm like, I'm going to clean this kitchen for them. These guys just working hard. They deserve have a decent place to eat their lunch. So I started with the dishes, and then I cleaned all the dishes, and I started putting them away. And I realized the cupboards were actually pretty nasty. So I took everything out of the cupboards, and I washed those. And by taking out the chemicals and the cleaners below the sink, I realized that was dirty. So I just got on my hands and scrubbed that. And while I was underneath the sink scrubbing it, a producer walked in, and she's like, "Who told you to do that?" And I'm like, "Nobody. You guys deserve a good place to eat." And she said, "What are you doing after your internship?" And I said, I don't know. Hopefully staying here and not going back to Boston for now. And she said, "Well, you're hired." So I've always told that story as a sign, if you just work hard, you'll get there. But I realize now, the sink wasn't what I was hired for. It wasn't because I cleaned it. It wasn't even my work ethic. It's because I was doing it genuinely, and I loved it. And that love is infectious and very visible. And I really didn't understand that until last night, because I always was just work hard. But if you just work hard, if I worked hard with a sad face, it's like, why are you doing that? "Oh, you guys, it was gross." She's like, "All right," and she would have walked away. But I truly meant it, and my mom would tell you I've never cleaned the kitchen in my life before that day. So it was truly love that did it. So why is love important when we create? And I think that's an important question. And it took a little while to answer for me too, but I realized that in certain industries, there's kind of things you can do that kind of step you above the competition. For example, this is my little booty of love here. So if like a plumber comes to the house and he puts these on his feet before he walks in the house, this is almost like it's 10 cents a piece or something like that. But the impression he leaves speaks volumes. And I think most people in this room would pay him more to do the same work because you can tell you don't think he's going to cut corners. He's going to do the job right. I don't know how to do any plumbing, so I can't check his work. But if just by doing that, he showed me that he loves what he does enough to take care of my work. And we don't have it as creators. We don't have this booty we can put on and we walk into an office. It's pretty weird, actually, when we did that. But it's important that we find out what that love is and that we do love every project we do. And we need to find a way to love every project. And it's hard because you have annoying clients and you have crappy projects. But you have to find something about them every time. And if we do that, I think we'll get better and better projects. And for me, the biggest thing, especially when you're creating, the biggest thing about love for me is love is present. If you love something, you're in it. You're not being distracted by email, that annoying client. You're not listening to him yabber in your ear with notes. You're not worried about the Pokemon block down the road. You're excited about what you're doing actively. And it's hard to do that, but I think if you can do that, and I think naturally because of that paradigm shift I had 15, 20 years ago that I didn't even know about, I am good at loving what I do. The other thing about love that I love a lot is it's fearless. If you're into something and you love it, the filters you put intellectually in yourself to like, let me judge what I'm going to say here, let me be logical about this, they kind of fade away. Like when you fall in love with anyone, if you fall in love with a person, you're crazy, you're talking baby talk and crap you would never do normally because you lose that filter. And as a creative, we need to get down to who we really are and what we really want to be and not always be left-brained. It just doesn't work that way. And that's when you lean in your talent, you lean in hard work, you're left-brained. You need to push past that. And one thing, just an example of fearless, we get to go crazy, and we're creators. We're not going to go crazy. Who's going to go crazy? We need someone to be crazy in what we do. Accountants don't go crazy, you know? Not in the good way anyway. When they go crazy, it's like you gotta leave the building and hide under the desk. So one thing happened, I was at an audience screening for a film I was working on. An audience screening is when the film's not done, we're still working on it, we show it to an audience, get their feedback, and we understand, we want to kind of see what they like, what they don't like, if they're confused by anything. And so it's a big deal. The studio's always there, the studio brass is there, the producers, it's a big deal. And sitting next to me was an Academy Award winning producer who actually produced my favorite film of all time. And, you know, huge, big, you know, 800-pound gorilla in Hollywood. And I met him for the first time that night. And the logo for his production company comes up in front of the movie. And out loud, because I love the movie I was on so much, I said, that is not going in front of my movie. And he looked at me like, what? I'm like, that is horrible, and it is not going to be in theaters in front of this movie. He's like, that's our logo. We have contractual right. I'm like, no. We're going to make you a new one, man. That is awful. So it was risky, obviously. I did not have any filters at that point, and rightly so, because after I was like, holy shit, what did I do? Luckily, it was a comedy, so I was able to laugh a lot and kind of get through it, but it was scary. So I redesigned the logo for them. And this is it, and their logo, I don't even want to show you the old logo, it's bad taste. It was 1991 era is the last time they updated it, I think, and even then it was done poorly, you know, so it's just not right to show. But anyway, this is the new logo we did for them. I really love it, and here's a little animation. So that one job and that putting myself out there, not only did I make the movie and the whole point of this was to make the movie that I was working on not be led by a piece of crap design. So that was the reason I did it. That was the only motivation. But by doing this, every single film that this producer has made in 4 years, we've worked on. He won't call anyone else. And loyalty in Hollywood is rare, very rare. So that one act of fearlessness, and just because I love the project, had nothing to do with business. Every movie he'll do, I'll never not do his movie, you know, and that's pretty phenomenal, and that's what can happen, especially as creatives, because it is hard to do the commerce part too. When you approach things this way, even if people aren't asking for it, it's infectious, and they'll get it, and they'll want to keep working with you because they'll trust you to do your best and bring it to another level. The other thing I like about love is that love is selfish. When you're in love with someone for the first time, especially early, or you're loving with a project, all you care about is that project or is that person. And it's not selfish to you, you're selfish to the project. You're putting yourself aside for that work. And that's also something that is important. And your happiness can kind of be driven. I know, especially when we really love a project or something we're doing, our happiness is kind of around it. And it's like, we'll work till 2, 3 in the morning every night to make it, because we want to make it perfect, we want to be happy. And it kind of does affect everything. And I thought about, well, we have a family, you have other things you want to do, you want to maybe not have that be the case. But it's like, that's what we're supposed to do. And yes, ideally you can do it in less hours and have a life outside, but we're supposed to love it like that. We're supposed to find some happiness, put our happiness into this stuff, and put everything into it. It's not science. We need to create in a way that allows us to express ourselves. And our imagination needs to be able to stick up for itself. You know, if you're just trying to get something done, and you have this idea pop in your head, but you're like, I can settle for what I'm doing right now and not deal with creating it any better, well, that's what it's going to be, and it's never going to elevate you. You're never going to get excited about any project. So it's important, if you can really try to find a way to do that, you're going to do better work. So there's a movie coming out in September called The Magnificent Seven that I got to work on for the last year. Now, we just finished it, I think, 3 weeks ago. I love it, so I think you're all going to love it. Hopefully go see it. But this was a case where, again, I love the original. I love Seven Samurai, which is a foreign film it's based on. And as soon as I read the script, my first thought was, we need the town to be a place that you want to save and love. And that's what the first Magnificent Seven kind of missed. So this is just some fun stuff I did for concept work. This is kind of an example of love. So as soon as I heard about the project, I started doing fun logos for me. They're not going to be in the movie, they have nothing to do with it, I just like to do that stuff. I was actually a graphic design major that switched to film in college, so I kind of have that stuff. So in Seven Samurai, one thing I liked is, this is a beautiful place. I want to go there. And if someone was going to come take this away from me, I'd want to fight them to stop it. This village is beautiful. They spent time. They planned where those buildings were going to be. The trees are even placed properly. This is a place that if someone says we're going to kick you out of your home, F you, man. I'm going to fight you for this, and I'm willing to die for this. In The Magnificent Seven, although the cast is great and it's a good movie, we're going to kill you, or you're going to have to, leave or find another. Okay. I'm going to go. Thank you. You guys can enjoy. You know, it's just, and it's not about, I know they were going for, like, it's Mexico, it's supposed to be poor, but it's like, it's not, this is not just showing, like, the production's not in this, and again, I'm not trying to attack them, but these are old buildings, and it's fine to show old, but they're not cared for. You know, there's missing bricks, and there's things like that, like, they could fix that. That's not an expense thing, that's a labor thing. So for these people to want to fight to stay, it's just because, well, we have nothing else to do, not because they couldn't have walked 3 miles down the road and saved themselves. So that was, for me, was hard. So right away I came with, we have to find a place that is beautiful, that we want to say, that the audience right away will connect to and say, yes, fight for that place. So in the script, it was already a settlement. So we started doing concept work of, like, what is a place that we'd want to go to if it still existed today? So this is the first concept we did. You can see there's a river through it, and the houses are carefully planned, but it's still early settlement, a lot of mud, things like that. And it was important to me they were that way. And when I first spoke with the director, Antoine Fuqua, honestly, the first thing we both said was, like, the town's got to be beautiful, and we got to love it. And it was those kind of conversations that I've done at every Antoine Fuqua film now for 4 years as well. So it's those kind of things that I think help me creatively do my best work. It helps me keep people loyal, because look, when they see the love, they see the kitchen sink, they obviously know I'm going to work hard, but a lot of people work hard. They see that I love it, and I was in there scrubbing because I love it, not because I'm trying to impress anybody. And it's important. So what I have here real quick, how are we doing on time, Keith?
We got 10 minutes.
10 minutes? All right, I'm going to skip the next thing then. No, that's the thing I'm going to skip. So that's the Magnificent Seven trailer. So maybe we can watch that. You guys can. All right, I'll show it real quick. Fine. We have 10 minutes. Let's see this one. This one we can crank up. I don't know if it's possible to sound if we can. Okay.
Man carries a gun, he tends to use it.
Danny dead? Pity.
I had just ordered a drink from that man.
Took a job looking for some men to join.
Is it difficult?
Impossible.
How many you got so far?
You and me?
Who's she?
We work for her.
Good Lord.
That's right.
That man murdered my husband.
I want something.
I take it.
He will take everything we have.
So you seek revenge.
I seek righteousness, but I'll take revenge.
We need more than few to help us fight.
What a bunch of misfits we are.
You gotta shoot that thing. I'll do it.
So am I.
Who's going, friend?
Oh, good. We got a Mexican. That says we are bonding. Oh. We got 7. He's got an army. And they'll be murdered by the world's greatest lover.
Why are you here? Fighting someone else's fight.
These people deserve their lives back.
Just make sure we're fighting the battle in front of us, not the battle line.
Every man got the right to choose where he dies.
We have nowhere else to go, so.
What's the plan? I've always wanted to blow something up.
Is that a plan?
How'd we do? I think we killed them all.
It's really good too, actually. It's a really good movie. It's one of my, I guess it's my first Western, so I think I'm going to be biased anyway, because who doesn't want to do a Western? But it's a really good movie. I think you're going to like it. So the other thing I like about love is it's contagious. And I think, especially this day and age, most of the work creatives do, we don't do it alone. We do it in groups. And when it's something you're truly excited about, the whole team will get excited behind it. The whole get behind it. I mean, look at Keith presenting us today. Like, if you didn't like Creative Mornings before you walked in today, you definitely do now. You know, it was clearly infectious how much he loves this. And really, and the spoken word dude, I had to to follow that stuff. Was like, it's like good because you guys got the room set for love, but it's like, damn, I gotta do some, gotta bring it. So as part of a team, you know, it's vital do our best work that we love things. And it's visual effects. We did 700 plus shots in Magnificent Seven. Some of them are little muzzle flashes that aren't really fun to do, and some of them are massive full CG worlds that we have to make look real. And they're both hard in their own way, but we have to love each one because it's in those little muzzle flash shots. Like it's a single frame or it's 2 frames of actually any change to the image that we did, so the gun would actually flash. But we have to put care into it. We have to put love into it. That flash, you need to be able to step through that frame by frame and have it look absolutely real and impact the audience's viewership. And people that lose their stamina, and that's really what it is. Stamina is the word I used to use, but I think it's when you use your love for what you're doing, even that shot. I'm not going to give you another chance to do a more complicated shot. You couldn't even do the muscle flashes with any kind of joy. I know they're boring, but dude, you want a better shot? No way, man. You want me to trust you with something that's going to take you months rather than something that's going to take you a couple days? Absolutely not. And as a team, if you start treating your work, back to the winning bank thing, if you start treating what you're creating as a team as just another day, it's not what you're paid to do. You're doing it wrong. It's not your job. Your job is to love it and bring it along. And if you're only leaning on your talent, it will fail you every single time. Because you'll know even if the client is super happy with it, we know when we're doing our best. And if we're just leaning on our talent, it's never our best. There's no way. There's no way. And I don't care how happy the client is. When you lean on that, and they're like giving you all the attaboys and the back pats, and you can walk away satisfied for that minute, but we walk away seconds later, we're like, well, I snuck away that one. I got that one through. And that's going to happen sometimes. But if we make a career of that, we're going to wish we just chose banking back when we could have and made some real money. Anyway, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Maybe 2 or 3 questions. If anybody has one, feel free to raise your hand, and Sean will call on you.
Yes.
What's your all-time favorite movie?
That Forrest Gump and Back to the Future are dead eats, and Rocky #1 is a really close second. Yes.
What's a movie that you would have liked to do visual effects and just improve it?
Improve the visual effects in a movie. Oh, that's a good question. The movies I love are the ones I would want to do, like to redo. But the ones I love, like Wizard of Oz, for example, it's really old, and certainly you can make the visual effects look better, but I wouldn't touch them for a second, because those people that created that, they love the hell out of that thing. I mean, that is a piece of art in every department. So I honestly, I don't know if I would want to touch anything, because if the movie's not good because of bad visual effects, I'm good there. You guys can keep that one, and I'm going to do the next one. Yes, sir.
Are you going to do another software play like Zinc? And how do you think about the creative rewards of a more entrepreneurial technical project versus more traditional creative work?
Sure. So we created a software company called Zinc, which was sold to Google a couple years ago. And as entrepreneurial goes, I'm kind of a new entrepreneur, even though I've been doing it 7 years now. I'm an artist. I want to be a creative. I have a company, and I created that software so I can make art and make movies. It had nothing to do. I'm not a business owner in the sense of I want to be a business owner. If this fails, I'm not going to go sell widgets somewhere. I'm here to make art, and that's what I do. And the software was a need we had. We needed the software to do our job, so we made it. And luckily other people liked it, and Google bought it, which helps us sustain other parts of the business. And we do other software development as well. But the start of it is never based on where it can go. It's based on what do we need right now to get our job done and do better work. And then after that, some of the stuff's been useful, and we bring it out to market. But really, it comes down to me just wanting to make great movies. Anyone else? Yes. Oh, sorry.
Can you talk about the stage in your career when you went from doing the work hands-on to managing other people, and how that changed your perspective of loving work?
Yeah. So I was really kind of forced off the box, as they say. I was kind of forced away from it because I didn't have time anymore. And it's still a hard transition for me. It's only been a few years, and it's really hard sometimes not to grab the mouse, and kind of. But it's also, now that I see, my joy now, my art isn't just what's on the screen. My art now is seeing the people around me grow. So when I see, I get to go to dailies too every day now for zero. And when we see dailies, I get to see work that maybe I hadn't seen in a couple weeks or something that's new to me. And I see an artist who maybe had struggled with things in the past or, had trouble with other things and puts up a shot that blows all our minds. The joy that they feel at that point, I feel with them. And I'm so proud of them. And they came up and grew with us, and we were able to develop their skills to be able to do that amazing shot that now is going to be enjoyed by millions around the world. That, for me, is as part of my art as the actual image itself. When people can grow and push past themselves, that is actually, I get more joy from that than actually seeing the film in theaters with audience, because it's every day. Honestly, I get to see it every day. Yes?
How does it take for research that's done and displayed at SIGGRAPH to find its way into your industry?
It
And
depends,
also-
yeah.
Also, what is it at SIGGRAPH that you're innovating on that doesn't get shown on a poster, or, you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the innovation with what we do, it's such a technology-driven industry that it's kind of always part of most of the stuff at SIGGRAPH. I mean, there's stuff that comes straight out of the universities that hasn't touched the marketplace yet, but even most of that has been kind of vetted through in a way a professional student that had a need. We had a need and we had to fill it. We had to figure out what it was. Now with virtual reality, that's changing a little bit because there is so much more research being done and not content created yet. So virtual reality is kind of, you know, really more about like, hey, how are we going to do this, and not doing it yet. So I think over the next couple of years, that's going to catch up and it's going to change again. But SIGGRAPH right now it's all virtual reality. It's really based on that. Our work is certainly, the white papers and stuff is certainly, we grab stuff from there. I mean, we steal everything. I mean, that's great artists steal. Don't ever not look at a reference and say, well, they did it like that before, I can't do it. No, steal it. That's what you need to do. That is the way you'll get better. If you pretend you don't steal it, you just don't remember you saw it before and you're copying it anyway. So you might as well actively go for it.
All right, everybody, one more round of applause.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, brother.